Good morning. You've had a minute and a half to think about what's going on. It's Wednesday morning. It's February 4th, as you can tell. I've got my modern moniker there. I thought that was kind of interesting. I'm over here, just a little bit right in the middle. Yeah, you can see me a little bit sideways. There we go. And I got Marilyn off this morning at about 7:30. She's off to some kind of a breakfast meeting with the club. She hasn't been around for a while. So, this is still in the news, sorry to say. This is the cover of yesterday's cover of the New York Post. And the mother has been snatched from her bed. And now we've heard that there are ransom demands in some form that was communicated to several blog posters like TMZ. Nancy Guthrie, mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie, disappeared from her Tucson, Arizona home over the weekend. Police say it is being treated as a crime. She was taken out of her home against her will as a little, a few droplets of blood, which have been traced to her. Not a lot of blood, so it's not like she has any, life-threatening puncture wounds, like a stab victim or something like that. No, that's not that kind of blood, just a couple of drops. So one could, take the narrative. That's what they do. They create a narrative, right, wrong, or indifferent. The narrative that they've come up with is that, she was snatched while sleeping, and she may have been kicking and screaming, and they got her quiet, and 84-year-old, you get a couple of people that go in there, and you can overcome an 84-year-old pretty easily. Not this guy. I know it's tough. You got two people that wake you up out of your sleep. You're starting off from behind. That's for sure. So this would be apparently some kind of a play to extract money from the daughter. And she's probably got some good amount of cash because she gets paid well. I mean, the presumption is, she's a Today Show host. I don't know how long she's been a Today Show host, but apparently long enough in the eyes of whoever snatched her mother. This is relatively well thought out. You have to you have to have some kind of inkling that the Today Show host has some money. So now you figure, okay, how am I gonna get some of the money? So you either snatch her or snatch someone important to her, like a mother or a daughter. In this case, is a mother, and she's 84 years old and needs her meds and probably doesn't have her meds. So that's the narrative. The homes are set back, with all kinds of landscaping, and you're in the middle of the desert, so you got all these desert plants, that poke you and stab you and all that. And so, at nighttime you can't really see what's going on in the house. And the house is just scattered all over this, area with all kinds of desert vegetation. Some natural and most planted. So you can't see what's going on from one house to the other. And you can't hardly see what's going on, from the street. The streets aren't lighted like a normal neighborhood. With all the critters floating around, I wouldn't want to walk a dog out in such an area. But I guess that's the only, people that are jogging or walking pets. There's no reason to be outside. So, and with this, the presumption is someone dropped her off at 9 o'clock at night on Saturday night. Presumably they some people, let's say it's 2 people, snatched this mother, grabbed her, kidnapped her, rolled her up. She rolled up in bed sheets. I don't know, and she didn't show up at church Sunday morning, and so everyone started to wonder where the hell she is. So they got into her house, and she's gone. So that's Saturday night is likely the time she got snatched. Saturday night. So Sunday night, Monday night, Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night. Tonight, tonight at midnight, you're into 4 days where this woman is, under questionable care. So they better face up, and so they have to see what this ransom demand letter says, and how they can get the mother back and capture the people we're talking about. That's so that mystery is hanging out there. Another mystery has been resolved in that Mega Millions. They're there are you can see it right there. They're the Mega Million numbers for last night's where are we? February 3rd. The $323 million prize. No one won. Yeah. There we go. There's 1 week behind. There we go. February 3rd. Yeah. The $323 million prize right there. February 3rd, last night. $323 million. There are the numbers. 5, 11, 22, 25, 69, 21. That's the mega ball and the ball, the yellow ball. The other 5 are white balls. 1 to 70. When they pick the 5 ball out, there's 69 balls. There are 69 balls floating around. The 5 is now in the tray. So they don't have 70 balls anymore. They have 1 less ball, and the balls have been painted with numbers 1 to 70. So the 5 ball now is missing from the bunch that are floating around in the machine. There are only 69 balls left. Then the 11 ball gets punched. The 22 ball, not in this order, but anyway, since no one, they checked all the computers, and no one apparently has a ticket with these numbers on it. That means this $147 million jackpot, if you will, it's actually a $323 million, but the cash option is $147 million. It's not going to happen, which then becomes $112 million because of the 24% withholding tax. So this right here is the check you would get. You would have gotten if you had won $112,176,000. Yeah. You better reserve, another $20 million on the side because you got to pay another 13% because you're going to be in the 37% tax bracket, likely. And that'll be the amount that you'll have in your checkbook right there. If you took the annuity, the first payment of the annuity would have been $4,861,000. And this you get day one. If you decide to take the 30 payment annuity, and you get this payment up front, then one day and 1 year later, you end up with another check for $5,104,000, and it keeps growing by 5%. That's the magic of a 5% growing annuity, and that's what you get when if you elect to take the annuity, in which case you get funded the full $323 million. It just takes 29 years so you get it all. You get $4,861,000 up front, and then you got 29 years of payments. At my age, I would take the lump sum. Yep. But that didn't happen. So everything rolls over to February 6th lottery game. Which is a Friday. And the lottery officials estimate the grand prize to jump to $346 million, because this is now a pretty serious lottery. You know, I mean, $346 million, which gives you, $99,603,000 in the checkbook after all federal taxes. So after all 37% federal tax, you end up with $99,603,000 in my estimation. You can see that number right there. And what does that column caption say? Jackpot lump sum payout after federal income tax of 37%. You certainly would be in the maximum tax bracket. The 151 million, 158 million. Yeah, that's a pretty good annual income. Bam! You take the cash option, you got to pay 37% tax. So what do you get? $99,603,000 in the checkbook. If you take the lottery, first payment, $5,207,000. And then you can see how it grows. That's the second payment. That's year one plus 1 day. Because this one you get first day. And then you got 29 years. This is 1 year after they gave you the first check. So within 1 year and 1 day, you would have been paid $10,000,006, round numbers. That's, and it keeps growing at a 5% rate. Whew. What a deal. I'd rather have the $99 million in cash. I've already told everybody how I'd spend it. I got that figured out. I would take $29,603,000. $29,603,000 and put it in the side pocket. Let's just play. $29,603,000 times 0.04. That's, a million, just say $1,000,001. We'll round down. $1,000,001. Now, that's a serious amount of money. You go ahead and spend that money. In other words, that's your expenses. You pay your taxes and your insurance, and you don't have a car payment, and you have to fill it up with energy. So your electric bill, if you have an electric car, which we do, Tesla magical car. So there we go. So for $1,184,000, you pay your electric bill and you pay your utility bill. So now when you go back to the jackpot, let's play. So out of the $99,603,000, we've taken $29,603,000 and put it in the side pocket. It's earning interest, and we're going to spend the $1,184,000 as, just spending money. That's a big budget for just spending money. But it's interest earned on that principal, and just that principal is locked in. Stay away from it. You spend the interest and have that interest credited to another account, so you don't touch the $29,603,000. That's a side pocket. You're going to spend the interest on that. So out of $99 million, you take $29 away. That leaves you $70 million exactly. Now that's $70 million. You got 4 kids, right? Give them $5 million each. That's $20 million. So 70 becomes $50 million, right? And you've got 10 relatives, $2 million each. That's another $20 million. That leaves you $50 million. So now you're down to $50 million. $29 million leaves you $70 million. 60, 50, 40, 30. So now we're down to $30 million. We've taken care of all the relatives, and so now we got $30 million left for Jimmy and Marilyn. We got the $29,603,000 in the side pocket. We use the interest to pay our bills. I suggest our kids do the same thing. Take $1.5 million of the $5 million we gave you, and put it in an interest-bearing account and live off that, that interest. It'd be $140,000, $150,000 a year income just on the interest on a portion of your money, and then the other, $2 or $3 million you can spend, buy yourself a condo or some kind of a, residential unit. Buy it. Pay your taxes and insurance out of the interest on that $2 million you put in a side pocket. Yeah. Anyway, so now Jimmy and Marilyn's got $30 million. So we put that 10, 20, 30 million. 10 million to Marilyn, 10 million to Jimmy. 10 million is in a joint account, Marilyn and Jimmy. From that 10 million in the joint account, we're going to buy ourselves a condo. Maybe 2, but at least 1. And we'll write the check out of our joint account. And then I've got 10 million in the side pocket. Marilyn's got 10 million in the side pocket. Remember, we got $1,184,000 in interest on that 29 million account that's sitting in the side pocket. We control that, so we'll get that interest, and that'll pay our taxes and insurance on our condo, association fees, plenty of money for that. All our wining and dining. You eat out just about every night. Eat out, you have 1 good meal a day, 2 meals a day, whatever. Makes life easy when you all of a sudden have $99,603,000. I figured out how to spend it, and then Jimmy and Marilyn each have $10 million. Okay, we got $10 million in the joint account. We bought ourselves a condo. Now I got $10 million in the side pocket, and Marilyn's got $10 million in the side pocket, and then we can just, separately figure out what do you want to do with that $10 million. You may want to do nothing with it. I'm going to take half of it and buy gold. You betcha. So that $10 million is going to be $5 million, because I'm going to have $5 million in gold. And how much gold would that be? Well, let's go to APMEX. I've already got that figured out. I just need to win the thing. Let's look on that, right? All right, well, the gold price is about $5,000 an ounce, as you can see on the graph right there. 5055, 5057. Yeah, it's been floating around. So I happen to have something in the basket here. There's only 4 left of those. So I'm just gonna remove one of these. All right, so here we go. This is what we have in our shopping cart, and there's 20 gold coins in there, worth over 5,000 a piece. So that tube costs you $108,000. So to get a million worth of those, you need 10 of those tubes, right? So for 5 million, you need 50 of those tubes. What did they say? They only have, God knows how many they have. So that's the way you buy gold. You don't have to survey it. It's a gold coin that's 0.9999% pure. There's no nickel in it. There's no copper in it, like you find in some of the other U.S. gold coins. There's no numismatic value. In other words, this is not an old coin. It doesn't have to be a new coin. This is 2026. So you should, you would obviously, I know these folks. So, whether you know them or not, when you're going to make this kind of an order, a large order like this, you would call them and put it in the cart. I want 10 tubes. Put them in the cart. Oops, we only had 7 of these. All right, put 7 in the cart. Check out, that's 760,000. Message, due to the size of your order, $750,000. Actually, yeah, 760. Please give our sales department a call. There's the number. Yes, sir. You want to make sure you lock this in. They want to make sure who the hell you are, and you want to realize this is a $700,000 order, and how would you like to send the money? Yeah. So that's what you would do. You just call them. Yeah, they're very nice. And if you want more of these, you tell them, I want more of these. I want 50 of them. I want $5 million worth of gold coins. Buffalo gold. Buffalo. You call it bullion coins. Gold bullion coins. They can be assorted dates, or they can be, 2026, they can be 2025. There's no value to the age of the coin or any specialty. There's no numismatic value to the coin. You're buying a coin based on the price of gold, plus a premium for stamping the coin and all that kind of stuff, a couple $100 a coin. That's how that works. And they pay the shipping and insurance to get it to you if you want to take possession of the coins, or you want to leave them in their vault in your name, or you want to ship them all down and you put them in your own vault. I do a little of each. 25, you know, you can have you can have $2.5 million worth of these coins in their vault in your name, and then you take 2.5 million in gold coins. You take delivery of that. Yeah, which would be, at 100,000 a tube. It's $108,000 a tube. Let's get our math thing out here. $5 million in round numbers. $5 million divided by 100. That's what it costs per tube. Equals 46 tubes. Yep. So it wouldn't be 50 tubes, it'd be 46 tubes. Yep. $20 tubes you can leave in their vault. Take 26 tubes down in your local possession. I keep $1 million in gold in my apartment, and the other 3 million or whatever it is, you put that in your local bank vault. Get a safety deposit box and just put the tubes in there. It's not much. I mean, it's like a handful of tubes. They're 20 ounces. They're 20 coins in a tube. And the tube is, if you can, tube is about this long. So forget the head of the flashlight, which I have my thumb on. The tube is about this size, and about, 1 inch in diameter. Yep, that would be what the tube would look like. It's not huge, and it's 20 ounces. Yeah, a couple of pounds per tube. 16 ounces to the pound, but it's 20 ounces, 20 coins, 1 ounce each. Yeah, so so $108,000 per tube is 46 tubes. Times 20, that's the number of ounces. Okay, divide by 16, 57 pounds. So $5 million worth of gold is about 57 pounds. Okay, that's the order of magnitude of that. It's surely not 500 pounds. It's surely not 5 pounds. It'd be 58 pounds of gold for $5 million worth of gold. Yep. Let's do the math on that again. 20 ounces. Okay. 108. Oops. That's the price per tube. All right. Divide that by 20. About $5,000,004 per coin. Excuse me. $5,400 per ounce. times 16. There you go. So it's $86,000 a pound. That's, you want a pound of beef? This is a pound of gold, $86,000 a pound. Yeah. So you want $86,000 a pound times, let's see. Yeah, that's it. We're going around in a circle. So that's $86,000 a pound. Yeah. It's not crazy if you have a couple of those tubes floating around in your apartment. Put them in a place you're not going to forget. All right, there's nothing crazy going around. The business news is circled around Elon Musk wanting to merge all his companies up. So he's merging AI with SpaceX. So that way you have SpaceX, which is the stuff going to the moon and going to Mars. The Artemis rocket has been postponed till March because of uncontrollable leaks of hydrogen from their rocket system. They can't stop the leaks of their propellant or their oxidizers. So you got oxygen and and hydrogen. They're very they require a huge amount of pressure and refrigeration. So liquid hydrogen, trying to control liquid hydrogen in a huge cylinder in the bottom part of this big rocket, and then you have liquid oxygen right on top of it, and it all gets piped into those 4 engines. I think they have 4 big ass engines, and they can't seem to control the leaking. Jeez. The Doberman Pinscher was crowned the best in show of the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show. It's a big show. It's a long time since the Doberman Pinscher has won. 20 or 30 years have gone by. A very calm dog is sitting on the couch over here. Right there you can see his head. There you go. There you go. There's a full head and nose and everything. Yeah, sitting on the couch. See? 4 people and a dog. So that dog now has, become something of a news item, and any offspring from the combination of that dog all of a sudden becomes extremely valuable. Yeah. They're walking around, the dog walks beautifully, and they run with the dog, and these people they get all these dogs that walk around, and they all walk beautifully. And, jeez. The dog stands perfectly. Whew. They practice the show dog stuff like crazy. And they get it exactly right. I'm a cat person at the moment. I have 2 cats. The dog wants a nap. He's got his head laying down on his leg. If you don't mind, I think I'm going to take a nap on your leg. Better that than take a bite out of your leg. Yeah, these Doberman Pinschers have a big head, big mouth. Fast. Upgrade to 9 to 5 Mac Premium. I have. I'm pretty sure I have. Alright, what's with this cat? iOS 26.2.1 causing crashes, freezes, and severe battery drain. No, I've experienced none of that. XAI accused of destroying evidence in an antitrust case against Apple and OpenAI. Well, that should be interesting. Yeah, it's a messy. Sounds like a messy lawsuit. I don't even want to try to figure it out, quite frankly. The amazing, this business with the AI and these huge computer centers, they're going through billions of miles of driving with the cameras studying the roads and the lines, and the line that fades and then comes back, to not being faded. Billions of miles. There's some traffic impairment because of road construction, so that's all embodied in this billion, literally 7-8 billion miles of full self-service driving. All that mileage information is being looked at. It's embodied in memory. So you need all of this chips and stuff because you have to have all that memory open and alive. And then, you you train. You train your cars with all this driving experience. All that you get trained. It's a huge training experience. And each vehicle then gets the benefit of that 7 billion miles of driving. That's the oversimplified conclusion that one might have with regard to full self-driving. I just got an update. I'm not going to see it on this computer, but it's 14.224 instead of 14.2.2.2. It's 14.2.2.4. Which is an upgrade, and even though it's that last 2 went to a 4, there's a lot of stuff that was done. I can tell you that. I can show you that, I think. Let's see if I can see it on here. Can I see the software update? This is 14.2.2.2. See in the bottom there? Where I go? Got my finger right down there. 14.2.2.2. It's software version 2025.45.9, I believe. Yeah. That's 2025, the 45th week. That's 45th out of 52. And it's the 7th. So this is the 9th version of the software. It's 45.9. Yeah, for those that aren't into the full self-driving. You can upgrade it. Software upgrade. Subscribe, manage. There we go. You see full self-driving supervised subscription. It's good until February 23, and then automatically charges my account. There you go. $99. Then you add 6.44 in tax. It's $105 on. I've had it for 7 months. On and off. April, May, June, and then I skipped July, August, September, October, and then started back up in November. Because we had a trip to Orlando, so I figured let's turn it on. So now I'm using it for a couple months, and it's like perfect. You can just say, "Take me to Houston's," and it'll drive you right to Houston's. And you just sit there and watch the wheel turn, and it stops for traffic lights. It stops and goes for stop signs, a full stop, and then goes. Obeys all the traffic regulations, as I can see. Stays within speed limits. Yeah, all what they call it full self-driving supervised, which means I have to watch it. And if I see something I don't like, I can, grab the steering wheel or, press on the brake pedal or the accelerator pedal. And if it's turning and it's not, if there's any part of the driving experience that doesn't satisfy you from looking around and using your own, you can take charge. And of course, then the software is going to ask you, why did you take control of the vehicle? What is it that the software didn't do correctly? And then you push the button, the right button on your steering wheel. There's a button, you just push it down, and you tell the software why you broke loose of the full self-driving software. And it makes note of that and sends it to Fremont, California with a clip. And we'll show the video clip. You've explained why you didn't like the decision the software was making. And it made a mark, on the video feed. And all 7 cameras feed, with about probably 20 seconds of experience. And it gets sent back to a software engineer in Fremont, California. And he'll decide whether that incident is worthy of making a software change. How about that? That's how that works. Yeah, exactly how that works. So, if you take control of the vehicle and don't let the software have control, the system wants to know why. Can you imagine that? You're arguing with the computer. Computer? God damn it. If it went through a stop sign and almost caused an accident, you certainly want to make note of that. And the software wants to know. You prevented the accident? We're supposed to prevent accidents. So you start arguing with the computer on who actually avoided an accident. I've seen some, replays of incident reports with the software. The amazing thing about the software is that it looks in 7 directions simultaneously. You with your eye, you turn your head, you're looking this way, something could be happening to you, on the other side. So, since the software is looking in all directions 35 times a second, it's basically taking a snapshot of everything that's going on around you while you're driving. The left side, the right side, front, rear. There's two front cameras, 2 on each side, 2, 4, 6, and 1 camera straight back off underneath the right above the license plate. There's a camera. And since you're going forward, I don't know. Now, if someone rams up from behind, your car is going to speed up if it can, to try and avoid that. I did that one time. I'm looking at my rear view mirror, the one that's inside the vehicle, and I see this car that's coming up behind me really fast. I said, I don't know if this guy's going to stop. I'm getting out of line. So I got out of the line and drove up about 3 or 4 car lengths, pulled out to the right. It was an exit ramp, and there was plenty of level grass, so I figured, screw this, I'm not only going to get out of this line of traffic, but I'm going to drive up about 4 or 5 car lengths, because if this guy has a head-on collision would drive right into the back end of the car that was in front of me. I pulled out and he got hit. Oh my God! And that's what happened. The car hit it like at 60 or 70 miles an hour, and they screwed each other up in the worst way. And I saw this big smoke. It wasn't burning smoke, it was just the dust from all this stuff in both cars. And the cars went up in the air a little bit and then came back down, and they were just bent, and I don't know, I'm sure there had to be flames because you have gasoline all over the place. So hopefully those people got out of their cars. I kept going. I got about 6 or 7 car lengths down ahead, and made my turn just as I got off the exit ramp on I-95. They had this big wreck. Jesus, someone wasn't watching. 60 miles an hour and rammed into somebody. It would have been me. I pulled out of line and moved forward. I'll tell you what, I was a nervous jerk for a week. Just imagining what it would have been like getting hit by like that. And I had an opportunity to get out of the way. I was screaming and yelling for everyone else to get out of the way, and of course I was the only one that got out of the way. I would jammed on my horn and everything. I tried to make notice. People just didn't do anything, and bam. You only had a couple seconds to react. The only thing I could think of doing was blowing a... I just held my hand on the horn, just so they'd wake the fuck up, I'm sorry. Wake up. All right, it's 8:15 in the morning. Oh my God. I've been talking here for about an hour. 57 minutes, actually. You can see the elapsed time meter right there. See, 57. That's how long I've been connected. Let's go back to my photo.
9:16 a.m.
Yep, thank you. My computers are talking to me.
My pleasure.
My pleasure. Okay, fine. Yeah, geez. Can you believe it? You sit here and you're arguing with your computer. All right, there's my spreadsheet. It looks pretty nice. You have to doll it up. You got to make it. It takes a while to set it up. The hardest part of it is the formula that creates that number. What is that first number? That's the question. For a $346 million grand prize, which is basically a 30-payment annuity that grows 5% a year, and you add up all those numbers, it has to add up to 346 million. What is this? What's the starting number from which you have 105, a 5% growth vector? You got to calculate the first one, and it's a rather exotic equation. Yeah, holy mackerel! You wouldn't believe how exotic it is. It's like the beginning of calculus, the string of numbers over a certain period of time. Yeah, I can show you the equation. Get into, there we go. Let me go back in history here. Quite a few days. Yeah, we're gonna look here. It's in this It's in this string. It's in this favorite collection. And I'll show you. I did it a couple of weeks ago. Tom Homan is delivering a speech on what's going on. I'm trying to find an equation for you that'll, we're getting close to the period of time where I created that. I think it's 4 days before this. This fireworks for some reason, unknown reason. I think I missed it. Because, yeah. See, here's the spreadsheet. I had to have the equations before I could produce that spreadsheet. How about that for some logic? And as you can nope, there's another spreadsheet. So I had the formula embedded. There's a lot of little ones. It looks like I'm trying to figure it out. You see, you got all these little ones. All right, come on, baby. Where's that equation? It's I know it's in here somewhere. See, now you don't see any more spreadsheets. Whoops, there's two more. Okay. So I couldn't have produced that spreadsheet without that formula. Now, I can show you the formula in the spreadsheet itself, but it looks a lot sexier if it's written out in paper. I've got it here. Oh, there it is. This is it, right here. Bingo, right here. And this is back when the lottery was 180 million was the grand prize. So that initial payment, remember I told you that's that first payment. You gotta figure out what that is. And in this case, it's $2,709,258.46. In other words, that first payment, what would that first payment be? So if you add that payment, that's a payment that you get. That's your first payment. And that's the critical one. Because the next one is 5% bigger than this one. And the next one after that is 5% bigger than that one. So it's real easy to add the 5% up. But you got to calculate what that first payment is. Because that first payment, and then the string of payments over 29 years, that has to add up to exactly 180 million. So the key is, what's that first payment? Well, you got to take, P, that the value is 180 million, in this case, divided by 105 to the 30th power. Why is it 105? Because it's a 5% growing annuity. So that means each succeeding payment is 5% bigger, than the last one. So that's why it's 105 to the 30th power minus 1, and then you divide it back by 105, by the 0.05%. So, in terms of a spreadsheet, this is what that looks like. The formula that's in the spreadsheet itself. And it's 1 plus 0.05, right? You can see that. And then that caret that's the 30th power. That's what that means, the caret. Now we're speaking the syntax of a numbers spreadsheet. Minus 1. There you see the minus 1. And that's all divided by 0.05. And there's the divided by 0.05. So this is the equation. This is the exact equation that calculates that first payment. Because that sets up the whole thing. You add them all up, and they add up to 180 million. Yep. And so we go to our spreadsheet. Pull up on that. So this is January 5th. Okay. Yeah, last month, January. See, there's January 6th. Yeah, so this was, you can see there's the 5th, and I'm doing the spreadsheet, and I got the calculation. This is right about, this is when I'm figuring out how the hell to do this. Yeah, right there. There's see, January 5th, and then everything above the January 5th is what I was reading and working on, and bingo, this is the formula that I had to calculate. Yeah. This is it right here. Yeah. This is how we got it to work. So I came up with these displays to show it to you. For that $180 million jackpot. 2,709,000. Now let's go to the spreadsheet itself. I'm going to get out of here and go to today. Jeez, I have to go through all that. There's 180 million. You see, 2,709,258. That's that first payment. That big formula is right in that box in the actual spreadsheet. This is graphics, so that I can, kinds of weird, I can turn this thing sideways, I have to be very careful with that spreadsheet. That's why I do a print screen to create these graphic images so we can see the spreadsheet, and I can't louse it up because this is a touch screen. Honestly, I have loused it up, and it took me a few hours to fix it. I've loused it up several times, actually, and I've had to fix it several times. So I try to do the print screen as soon as possible so that I don't louse up the actual spreadsheet, which I have. I'll show you. Numbers. Here's the spreadsheet right here. Top on the list. It's loading, and there it is. So we can go to that $180 million, and then I go across over here to this 2,709,000 number, and I'm going to touch that, and I'm going to hit, there you go. So that cell, you can see it's highlighted in blue. We are in the spreadsheet. You see the equation? Rounding it. I'm rounding it to the nearest dollar. And there's like 3 brackets. 1 plus 0.5 to the 30th power minus 1. You can see that right in the bottom. I think you can see it. There you go, sorry. There it is, right there in front of you. Yep. I had to put that. That was a bear to get in there. But that's the same formula in every one of these. See, if I go down the line, the formula doesn't change. You see to the left, the $285 million lottery, it goes to that because we know that number. We're trying to calculate the $4,289,000. Or this one right here, see, the 303 lottery. And this is the $323 million lottery. And now next Friday, this coming Friday, the lottery is $346 million, they tell me. And you. So I've calculated what that first annuity payment is going to be like. Why? Because you want to know. So now I'm going to get away from this spreadsheet. So I'm going to hit the red close mark. So that has been closed down. And that spreadsheet, is saved. There was nothing done to it, so. And I'll go back to the photographic stuff. There we go. So that's my secrets. And here I put the actual, the balls. You don't do anything with the balls mathematically other than just show them. There's a place I can copy that off the actual lottery results in my phone. 5, 11, 22, 25. They look like round. They're numbers with black circles around them, which they're just displayed in the spreadsheet because you want to know. Discovering minds want to know. And then you see opposite the $346 million lottery, which is on the bottom there, it says rollover because it rolled over to the next drawing. And it's a Tuesday, Friday, and then Tuesday, Friday. It's Tuesday, Friday. It's twice a week, Tuesday, Friday. Sooner or later, someone's going to win. Granted, it's a $300 million to one shot, or $290 million, I think. $290 million to one shot that you're going to get all 5 balls, and the what do you call it, and the mega ball number. It'd be a shame to get all these white ones. And they're missing, you get 20 instead of 21. I think if that's the case, that would be $1 million prize. If you get all 5 balls and not the Powerball. I think that's what the $1 million prize is. And then if you have 2x, 3x, or 4x opposite that line, on your ticket, then, there could be 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, 10 million, depending on what, is opposite that line on your ticket. That's it. $346 million. That's skinny that up a little bit so you can see everything. There we go. You still can't see her. There we go. Now you can see everything. Yeah. I've got this now so you see what I see. It was interesting with the $180 million lottery, huh? Yeah. 2,709,000. Yeah, there it is right there. That is 2,709,000. I showed you that from that equation that was done off the spreadsheet. And I graphically enhanced it and everything so you could see. On January 5th or 6th when I actually did the calculation. And that is in the spreadsheet underneath that entire row, underneath every one of these going up and down is that equation. And it looks to the size of the lottery. You know, you got all these rollovers, so you got a lot of rollover money that goes to the next round, if you will. And you know, there are 45 states that are participating in the Mega Millions. So they're collecting, you know, these $5 tickets, you know. They're collecting that money, and, you know, I guess every night they have to send that in. They got to send that up to, you know, the headquarters, because everybody is participating in this $346 million grand prize. So all this money has to be centralized in a place. And I'm imagining that's Tallahassee, Florida. I think Mega Millions is a Florida lottery. I'll have to verify that. I know I would have to go to Tallahassee to collect the grand prize. Now, if it was in New York, I wonder, does that person come down here, or does he do all his collecting the grand prize up in New York? If a New York person, if the lottery ticket was sold in a New York retailer. That's an interesting question. Do not know the answer to that question. All I know is I got to go to Jacksonville if I'm the grand prize winner, or any prize that's over, basically anything over $600. You got, you can do it like mail order, so forth, up to Tallahassee. But when you get in that $1 million range, do you really want to send your ticket in the U.S. mail? There comes a limit on how much risk you want to take, with sending a ticket. Anyway, so that would be an interesting exercise. Well, you learn that when you win, if you win. You probably only win one of these times in a lifetime. It's just $290 million to one shot. It's like getting hit by lightning. Someone's going to get hit by lightning, so might as well be me. You can't win if you don't buy a ticket. You buy a ticket, and you see all the balls that you got on your tickets and see if it matches up with whatever the drawing is. This coming Friday, a couple of days, at 11 p.m., the results are known. And then by midnight, you know, it spreads out to all the computers all over everywhere. Because that's when I got the numbers, basically at midnight. This morning, I was talking right into almost 1 a.m., you know, like I'm yakking now. It's been an hour and 20 minutes. Yeah, that was the big deal. So this is the numbers I plucked off one of the lottery channels to get the February 3rd results. See, 5, 11, 22, 25. Florida puts them in order. 5, 11, 22. That's why this will look a little odd. This is the numbers as they were drawn. This is the panel that actually went into the spreadsheet. I copied that. Touch this right here. It says, see, on the first button here, it says copy photo. I pressed copy, and it copies the photo. Then I go into the spreadsheet and hit paste. And I pasted it right in the spreadsheet. Because I don't want to touch these balls. And I don't want to get the numbers wrong, you know. 27 and it's like 72, you know, transposition of digits and yada yada. So, keep it simple, stupid for Jimmy. Here's all the pictures. And there's another verification of the lottery numbers. I don't write them down. I just copy and paste. That's the safest thing. That way, Mega Millions, they wrote it down. And even what they say, if you read the contracts, we're not responsible if we made a mistake on the broadcast and showed a 10 instead of an 11 or 11 instead of a 10, you know, and you thought you had a winning ticket. And it turned out you didn't have the winning because the lottery people sent the wrong number all over the universe. You know, so they got to check their shit before they release it to the public. Oh, gosh. All right. So inside my envelope here, I have one ticket that's winning a little bit of money, and I have cash to buy my next ticket. A few tickets. This is winning money. It actually was won by the lottery. So I'm going to take $50 out of my winnings and buy my next ticket. There we go. I put that 20 up front. This is a bunch of ones. This is a bunch of 20s. And there's $50 right here. Yep. Let's put this in the very front. In this secret pocket right here. $60 right next to that winning ticket. They didn't win much, but I won something. So that's how that works. Here's, I can see what's going on in this apartment. I have cameras set up in the kitchen. You see right there? That's a live view of the kitchen. Here's a live view in my living room. And here's a live view. You can see right with the front doors right there. This room right here, watch this. So I'll just expand that a little bit. And I'll stick my hand out the door. But I'll hold my glasses. You see. Just so you don't think I'm kidding. There you go. So, if there's any action in this apartment, these cameras send a message to myself that someone entered the dining room area, or someone came in the front door, or someone is, in this area right here. There's a microphone thing. You can actually talk into the room. From here, the microphones would be this iPad. I should have that fan spinning, so that'd be another signal that it's a live broadcast. I see live up in the corner of my display with a little green dot, so I know it's alive. It's interesting. Yeah. There's the kitchen view. Nobody's in there. I put this leaf in the middle just to, that's the corner of the refrigerator. This thing is sitting on top of my refrigerator. Connected to a little stand. There you go. It. I can actually see what's going on in my kitty. Look at this. There's my litter box is ready. You can see the shape of what it looks like. View cameras. This is live view. There you go. It's the area in front of the litter box is clear. You can actually see a cat come up in there. It uses facial recognition to determine which cat. Can you believe it? It does, I swear to God. Now we're looking straight down into the litter chamber. The cat comes inside of here and does his business right inside there. That's about a 15-inch circle. So, let's see if I can come back to here. Go back. So it says it's ready, so I can actually watch this. I can start that. There we Optimal litter. Waste. Got plenty of room in the waste basket. Controls. Cycle. Do the manual cycle. Now, crap. View cameras. Let me show you it's cycling. There it is. You see it cycling. All the litter goes through that sieve, and if there's a poopy or something in there, boop, it goes down into the waste basket underneath. So there you can see some. That's how that works. Now it goes back. It's not jittery like that. It's just the transmission is a little jittery because of the internet connection. The machine is very deliberate. It looks like there's a big clump of stuff on the bottom there that I need to dislodge. It eventually falls off. Let's see where it ends up when all this litter comes back into play. Okay, that's what we were seeing. Yeah, okay. So whenever I go back in that room, I have a little spatula, and I'm gonna move. This is a clump of urination, apparently. That's not dried out enough to dislodge itself just by gravity. So I'll give it a little help. So there you go. You've seen me play with the litter machine. It's very helpful, I'll tell you. Because you don't have to scoop, litter from an open pan that, has a nasty odor of cat excrement. That $1,000 machine solves that problem. Thank you very much. I mean, it's been, this is the third one I've gotten. This is 5. I had Model 4 and version 3. So version 3 for a couple of years, and then version 4 for a couple of years. This is like 6 years, and now they came out with a version 5, so I snapped it up. Runs very nicely. The software and the programming is getting better and better, with each of those succeeding versions. Yeah, big time. So they had some gunboat, they had some torpedo action with Iran. The U.S. Navy took care of that. In a very, they weren't all excited. They just did what their systems do, and they just neutralized that weapon. They saw it coming from 15 minutes away. it was a torpedo that was launched. Took 12 minutes to get to the target. In the last 2 minutes, we were tracking it for the full 10 minutes. But in the last 2 minutes, that's when they actually did something to eliminate the threat. Which is, we had another underwater missile that attacked their torpedo and blew them both up. Alright, it's at a crossroads of what they want to do. So if they keep slaughtering dissidents, we're going to get in there and take them out. Help the Iranian people. And then the Iranian people can get rid of these people and, get their society back to where they have open and free elections. Instead of this Ayatollah ruling. That's going to be over. So they're meeting with the Trump administration. Well, they should be meeting. They should have their bags packed so that when this meeting is done, they know it's time to GO. So I took pictures of this to figure out, is it half empty? Is it? So this is full right to this line. We go over to this one. And it looks like it's half empty, but that's, when I opened up the tray, it was like full. I need to clean up that window. And so that's why I took a picture of those. All right. It's 10 o'clock. I have a lunch appointment. I'm going to get my stuff together and clean up for that lunch. And I wish you have a good day today. It's Wednesday, February 4th. We're getting into the second month of the year. All the holiday stuff should be over. This is my little pack with my glasses. Got everything in there that I need. And I'm ready to wrap it up. So you all have a great day, and I'll check in with you tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.